When I stepped onto the front porch, I sensed it immediately. Something was off. The air carried an unfamiliar edge, metallic almost, and the welcome mat that had always greeted me was nowhere to be seen. The porch light blinked erratically, as if struggling to stay alive. I inserted my key into the lock, but it refused to cooperate. The jagged sound of metal grinding uselessly against metal made my stomach tighten. Then the window beside the door creaked open. She appeared, my wife, her hair neatly tucked behind her ear, a smile ghosting on her lips that didn't reach her eyes. There was a chill in her voice as she said, "Check your email," with a lightness that felt like mockery. "I just sent you the divorce papers. The house is mine now. And all of our savings too." Behind her, a man's voice, deep at home, laughed. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was possessive. A shirtless figure ambled through the hallway like he belonged there. I stood there, breath caught in my throat, as the silence between us grew heavy. Her mother appeared in the driveway, arms folded across her chest, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. She gave a dismissive shrug, like I was a duffel bag left behind in a hotel lobby. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I simply removed the keys from my keyring one by one, and dropped them into her palm. Each metallic clink echoed like the final nails sealing shut a coffin. Then I turned and walked away. At the airport, I bought a one-way ticket. I didn't care where it took me. All I wanted was distance. That night, in a cheap motel 2 states away, I sat on a creaky mattress, opened my laptop, and saw the email. Just as she'd said. Dry legal language. Neat lines dividing assets. Signatures that once might have meant devotion. Now just bureaucracy. 14 years dissolved in 7 days. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred and the fury inside me quieted, curling into something colder and more patient. I opened a blank document. Not to write a message, not to threaten, but to begin constructing a plan. Before all this, before my life was gutted, we had seemed ordinary. Or at least I believed we were. Friday night dinners, morning coffee rituals, holidays carefully budgeted and planned. She used to squeeze my hand twice when we woke up, her quiet way of saying, "I love you." I lived for that double squeeze. But now I understood. Love isn't always lost in shouting matches or broken plates. Sometimes it's murdered in silence, in emails and changed locks. I started by becoming invisible. My first move was digital. I accessed our old shared cloud drives, long forgotten but still alive. The evidence was everywhere. Her with him, Marcus, at beaches, restaurants, weekend getaways. Photos geotagged and time-stamped while I was out of town working. They'd been playing house with my life behind my back. I traced her bank activity, secret expenses, hotel charges, hidden gifts, and purchases for their new life together. Then I found him. Marcus Hale. Real estate agent. Twice divorced. Terrible credit. Spotty employment. He was perfect. I became patient. Every night, I uncovered another part of their lives. I learned their schedules, their weaknesses, their indulgences. I watched their world like a hunter learning the habits of prey. Then I began to dismantle it. First came the money. She transferred everything into a new joint account with Marcus, blinded by the romance, by the thrill. I exploited it. I used voice cloning software to mimic Marcus. Through carefully crafted emails and phone calls, I posed as him. I sent wire transfer requests to offshore accounts. Gradually, I siphoned the funds out, not to myself, but to an account under Marcus' name, riddled with irregularities, red flags that would alert every financial watchdog. Next came his reputation. Marcus thrived on his image, honest, reliable, the go-to man for real estate deals. I created anonymous online profiles, left detailed negative reviews, spread rumors, and orchestrated minor but persistent scandals. Licensing boards began to take notice. Clients pulled out. His name began to decay. Then I turned to the authorities. An anonymous tip to the IRS. Screenshots of unreported income, lavish spending, and glaring inconsistencies between lifestyle and declared earnings. It wasn't hard to make them curious. I just handed them the first breadcrumb, and let their curiosity lead them through the rest of the trail. The fire had caught, and I watched from afar. But I wasn't done. The final act was in person. I returned, quietly. Not to the house that no longer belonged to me, but to a small notary office where she had an appointment the next day. Something about signing new documents with Marcus. I arrived early. I waited. When they entered, they looked radiant, carefree, victorious. She looked like she had finally won. Marcus oozed smugness, his sunglasses perched on his head, a swagger in his step. I stepped in behind them, a folder under my arm. I said nothing. I simply laid the file on the table. Copies of wire transfers, account screenshots, pending legal complaints, court orders. The moment her eyes found the contents, I saw it. The blood draining from her face, the trembling in her fingers. Marcus leaned in, trying to comprehend the disaster unfolding before him. The notary excused herself quietly, sensing the fracture. "You might want to check your email," I said, my voice calm, almost gentle. "The lawsuits have already been filed. Good luck explaining how you didn't know." Marcus turned pale, then flushed with fury. He barked threats, his voice rising. But none of it touched me. He was already falling. She didn't even speak. Her mouth opened, but no words came. Just disbelief. Betrayal has a strange beauty. It makes people reckless. It makes them so sure they've won, they forget to look over their shoulder. In the weeks that followed, their empire crumbled. Assets were frozen. Investigations launched. Legal fees devoured them. Marcus' business license was suspended. They were forced to sell the house, my house, to pay off mounting debts. I didn't buy it back. I didn't need to. I moved on, silent and unburdened. Sometime later, in a different city, I sat outside a small cafe, sipping coffee as the sun dipped below the horizon. I scrolled through the news. Marcus Hale, under investigation for bank fraud. Cassandra Hale, bankruptcy proceedings underway. I smiled. Just once. Small. Quiet. Then I put my phone down and watched the sky. The storm was over. They had set fire to everything. I just handed them the match.